Hey guys, I want to do some more story time of personal creepy things I've gone through for Halloween. Um, I was going to tell one story about this creepy witch in New Mexico. This is not a Wiccan witch. This is not a your kitchen witch next door or anything. Okay, this was something else. I don't want to give away their names for privacy's sake, but I still remember their name. I actually have found where they live on Google Maps, which is so cool because this was so many years ago. It's probably 1995, 1996, somewhere in there. I mean, I was in their house when Selena died. And we had so many of our Hispanic, whereas like I said in the previous video, they preferred to be called Mexican at that time. Because they were all from Mexico and very proud of it. They had, been with us. That was on April Fool's, and it was so sad. Like, when Selena died, everything changed. We had so much fun doing April Fool's jokes, and then when they found out, they were like, there was definitely some crying and stuff. And I know that's not a ghost story, but it comes back to me, this place. It's outside of Carlsbad, and they own a ranch out there, a goat ranch. Huge property on the Pecos River. It was so cool out there. You could find arrowheads and things, and we just had so much fun. Well, when all the grown-ups were gone doing some kind of meeting in town, it was just us, a couple of boys, my brother and me, and we were like, what's more fun than just staying out and telling ghost stories? This was probably in the fall, because I know my parents were like, be careful, the rattlesnakes are shedding their skin and everything, and it was just starting to get really cool outside at night, and it was going to be a full moon, so you could see really good at night. So we just stayed out talking about ghost stories and things, and we talked about a ghost that lived in this little shack outside their house. Some guy had gotten shot in there, and like decades before, and you hear the piano still playing at night sometimes, but it didn't make any specific sound, so I was like, oh, it's probably a raccoon or some weird wild creature, right? And then they also had the shape-shifting, this is why I can't write down everything. I always remember there's more stories I remember. There's supposedly some kind of a shape-shifting spirit, Native American spirit in their barn, and had to do this owl. But I don't remember a lot of details with that one. But these are all the stories we were talking about out there. And they were like, well, we do have a witch, like, that lives close to us, And me and my brother were like, nah, yeah, nuh-uh. They're like, yeah, we do. She lives back this way, and we kind of have to just walk down this long road, turn, walk down another long dirt road, and she's at the end of this corner. And there's just kind of flat fields everywhere at this point. Like, there's some areas where it's hilly and there's trees and like kind of sand duney stuff, but in this area it was just kind of like sparse. And anyway, it seemed like a long, casual, lovely walk. Beautiful, glowy moon, perfect weather. It was so peaceful. And they were saying, this witch is spooky. She has animal parts hanging all up in her house, and she does the dark stuff, the bad stuff. And I was like, what if she's just a homesteader and she's just hanging animals, or she's just bleeding them out? She hunts or something. I mean, my dad hunted, so. And they're like, no, that's not it. I still did not want to believe it. We started walking towards her house, and I noticed, oh God, it was so creepy. Okay. Her dog started barking at us, and, normal, right? Dogs bark. But as we got closer, it's like her house is at the end of a corner, so we have to turn that corner. Well, as we're getting closer, we notice that she's out there and she's holding a lantern. Okay. And what was really spooky is the dog's eyes were glowing as if they were behind the lantern, but they were in front of the lantern. And the moon, nothing would have made these eyes glow like this. This was like a really big, bright, glary, like the moon wasn't even facing them. And it was like, we didn't have a flashlight or anything because we didn't want to, her to see us coming. And all these big dogs barking at us, and their eyes like were glowing. And she's had this lantern out there, and when you see her, like the silhouette, like the moon behind her hair looked like straw. Like, it was like squiggly. It was the creepiest thing I'd ever seen. I only saw like a silhouette of her. Never saw exactly her face, never saw her eyes, just the silhouette of this woman with straw-like hair, the lantern, and those dogs with glowing eyes. Man, we ran so fast. We took that corner so fast. We ran all the way back so freaking fast. Oh, our hearts were pounding. We were freaking out. That was, whew. That's the only time I've ever seen like a genuine like bad witch, you know, like the crazy ones. I don't know. You know, I know a lot of people call themselves witches, but that is not that kind of witch. This is one you don't want to mess with. Anyway, and then I was trying to think of if there's anything else from when I lived out there in Woodland. And the only thing I can think of offhand is I started having really bad astral attacks when I was in junior high. And the first time it ever happened, well, it's like sleeping paralysis and astral together. Some people only have one or the other, and mine were usually combined. Like you're in sleeping paralysis and then something pulls your body, your soul out of your body, you know? The first time it ever happened, the thing standing over my bed looked like a glowing bluish white glow, kind of similar to the ghost, but weird, like skeleton, but alien-like. Like it was almost like, imagine seeing like an alien gray, but you're actually just seeing the bones in it, and it's glowing, and it's like walking at you with these long arms, and it's like yanking at your feet. You know, a lot of people that have sleeping paralysis, you know what it's like, where you feel like something's pulling your feet or pulling you off the bed or whatever. And little did I know that that was going to be the beginning of several years of so many, attacks that I became like an insomniac. Like I hated it when it happened like on a night before finals or something. And I'm like, can I have just 1 hour of sleep, please? It's like every time you almost fall asleep, boom, you start feeling the wind, the sound in the ears and the tingles, and like, here we go again, you know. My parents didn't understand what it was, and I had to go through this all by myself. It was so annoying. But thankfully, when we moved to East Texas, we moved into a very haunted house. Little did I know, I felt like the haunted house made it very hard for any demonic attack, because they're like, no, you're not welcome here. I feel like they kind of protected me in a way, you know? And what was so strange about it is that a spirit has bought our house, and now her husband was a doctor, and little did I know that they tried to sue my parents for some kind of sewage problem, which was, I mean, this was a nice neighborhood, but for some reason they all had septic instead of, you know, city sewage at the time. And I'm like, dude, you moved in with like 8 kids or more, 12 kids. Like, she adopted all kinds of kids and stuff, and like they backed the sewage up. That's what happens when tons of people poop. But, you know, she didn't tell me that when I saw her at Spirit Quest there. Now there's one in Houston, so I don't know if she moved it there from East Texas down to Southeast Texas and Houston or what. But anyway, she never told me that she tried to sue my parents. That's great, isn't it? But anyway, or her husband or something. But she even admitted she bought it because of how active it was, and that she had seen, you know, ghosts there and stuff. And this one little blonde girl opens the door all the time. She gets upset when she leaves the door unlocked because she had little kids and everything. Now, I didn't ever see a ghost. I kind of picked up on, in my third eye, like a young Civil War, like, soldier boy who died young. Like one that was probably too young to have joined legally. You know, 14 to 16, somewhere. I'd say even 13. That house was the most active house I've ever lived in, but I never felt afraid. Like, my brother is upstairs and he hated it up there. He always stayed downstairs when my parents are gone. He was always leaving lights on. The whole house had lights on. If I was gone at work, and got home, this was when I was in high school and I was driving and going to work and stuff, my parents would be out, say on a date or something. He'd have every light on in the house and he'd be downstairs on the couch. And I wanted to have a room upstairs. My dad's like, no, he puts in this stupid pink room downstairs. My brother had this whole upstairs to himself. It was the study and his room and this huge bathroom. And I would have given anything to be up there. My brother hated it. Well, anyway, it was so funny because when you're downstairs, like legit haunted house, you hear stomping, like all the time. You'd hear we had those wooden shutters, like the indoor wooden shutters. A lot of people have the plastic ones now, but these are the older ones that are legit wood, so they're heavy. And you could hear them squeaking up and down, or like being pulled and rattling, like, you'd hear drawers in the bathroom rolling open and shutting, and rolling open and shutting. And you hear cabinets too. I mean, this was like when they were in the mood to play. I mean, obviously. And if there was children ghosts, obviously that's what it was. They were legit playing and having fun, having a good time, And he was so frightened of them. And I loved them because I was like, I don't have astral around you guys. Like, I feel like you guys, you bring so much love and light into the house that I felt safer there, I maybe only had astral once or twice the whole time I lived there. One time I would say more than once probably, but this is what I remember specifically, is them like moving things in really strange ways. Like kids, like what a little kid would do playing. Like, say those little pins that go in like a curler was stuck in the little compartment where the ivory went, and these combs, there's like this box I had that had little ivory pieces that go to close this box. That's, this cloth covered box from China that my dad got when he was in China. And, it had these little pieces that come in and out. Well, this little kid had put the little pin from a hair curler in it. It just makes sense. You think how a little kid can only stand up so tall, and they're like, oh, look at that. Oh, I know it will fit there. And it's just, these are things that, I've asked, my mom, brother, do any of y'all do this? Or, they're like, why would I go in your, and that's just weird. Like they, they wouldn't have even thought of doing something like that. But anyway, again, just like when I was little and freaked out when I had toothpaste dripping down my face in like the previous video, is, I would even tell them, because I was a little voluptuous in high school. I won't lie. I was never skinny. I was never obese, but I was definitely very curvy. But I felt like I was just chunky enough to be kind of like weird. So like I would tell them, like, I'm sorry you'll have to see me naked. I know this is weird, especially if there's little kids around, I'm always like, sorry, please don't watch me poop. So, but I never was afraid of them. They never bothered me. A lot of other things about that town was so negative. So that place was wonderful. It was weird because the town itself seemed so cursed and so negative and this heavy oppressive energy to it, but they were not. Anyway, I will stop this video since it's over 12 minutes long, and I will look at my notes and see if I can maybe do one more tonight that I can start uploading over the next few days, because I have so many to tell. I love you guys, and I bless you. Until next time.